One Vampire 218 here, bringing you another draft Pokemon Spotlight. Today I've chosen to look at Cloyster. So, looking at its stats, it has a 50 in health, and that's pretty darn bad. But it makes up for that having a whopping 180 defense stat, meaning while it may not have a very good health, its defense stat is through the roof. This thing can take quite a few physical hits if they're not super effective. Now, on the offenses, it has a 95 in physical attack and a 85 in special attack, and that's pretty darn good. Looking at its special defense, it is 45, meaning this thing can't really take a hit on the special side. It is really low, so you got to be very careful with that. And its speed is 70, which is actually pretty surprising to me, because looking at this thing's other stats, this thing's speed should probably be quite a bit lower. So it is an ice water type, meaning that it is strongly resistant to ice. It will regularly resist water and has a weakness to electric, fighting grass, and rock. Now, not the best typing, to be honest. Having very little resistances and more weaknesses, and very common weaknesses, electric, fighting grass, those are all pretty common. And rock, well, that's pretty darn common too with stealth rocks. So, its three abilities are Overcoat, Shell Armor, and Skill Link. Skill Link means that multi-hit moves will hit the maximum number of possible times. Shell Armor prevents critical hits, and Overcoat grants immunity to damage from weather effects and powder moves. You can run whatever you want. I prefer to see the Skill Link getting run because it has the ice multi-hitting move and the rock multi-hitting move, meaning this thing gets a pretty good, coverage through those. Always hitting 5 times means that's actually hitting pretty darn good. It is UU tier, which is about exactly where you want it. This thing is not a bulky water type, but it can hit hard. It can also do some other stuff. When we get down here, we will talk about that. So, this thing has access to Withdraw, boosting the defense by 1 stage. Not the best, because I believe you get Iron Defense. Whirlpool, always good to have a mon that has the capacity to trap. We have Water Pulse, which isn't a special water move, but Surf I think is better because you're getting an extra 30 damage. So, Twin Needle, physical bug move. I don't see that getting run too often. Now Toxic Spikes. This gets run because it's one of our setup moves, and that's really good. As we go up, we also get access to spikes, regular spikes, and that is really good as well, because having access to spikes and toxic spikes means this thing can be a very good setup Pokemon to lead with and just get some spikes out. Having toxic spikes down, if they don't have a way to deal with that, they're on a timer, so they're in trouble. We get access to Shell Smash, and that is huge, because boosting our attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages means that this thing is going to put in quite a bit of work, and all at the cost of 1 stage in defense and special offense. Worth it every day of the week. Now, it has Signal Beam, very good special bug move. However, again, we want to be going for physical moves. So it has Spike Cannon as a normal hitting move. We don't really want to run that. As we go up here, it gets Rock Blast. That is a move we will be running because it'll hit 5 times with a power of 25 on each, meaning that this thing is going to put in work, especially if we have a Shell Smash before it. Having a relatively good attack stat combined with the fact that that's going to hit 5 times, meaning that, each one of those neutral will grand total as if we hit 4. I mean, it doesn't grand total because the defenses for each attack, but either way, we're hitting with a lot of good moves. As we go up here, we have a Poison Jab, always good because it's a physical move. We have Razor Shell, it's okay, 50% chance to lower the target's defense. This is good if they're forced to stay in. Iron Defense is our defense booster, that's the one we want to use. We get Icicle Spear, which is the ice version of Rock Blast, except its accuracy is better. So Icicle Spear is really good, and we want to be running that. We also get Icicle Crash for that raw damage, and Ice Shard for our priority. As we go up here, we have Hydro Pump as a special water move. You don't really want to run that though. We keep going here. We have Clamp, which is a very good physical trapping move that we want to run, and having access to both the physical and the special traps is very good because we can bring either or. Avalanche, very good if we're going a much slower route. Going for, we can go for it on a faster Pokemon, but I prefer it on a slower. We have Barrier as another way of raising our defense. Aqua Ring to get some health back. But overall, Cloyster is a very good, lead, and that's what people really want to run it as. So, it's weak against bulky water types. Absolutely. This thing cannot touch a bulky water type. Steel types. Yeah, I can see that. We can't really touch them. Fighting priority moves. Absolutely, we're weak to fighting, and fighting gets both physical and special priority moves. Mixed walls. I would say we don't really care about mixed walls. I mean, walls in general are an issue for us. So, and then Empoleon, we're not worrying about specific mons. But overall, I agree with a lot of those. Walls and bulky things we can't get through. You're going to be either running this as massive damage or as setup, and either is very viable in the league format. So, items. It really depends on what you want to do. If you're going setup / if you're going, first of all, we'll talk about the heavy hitting, physical, whatever. If we're going for that, we either want to go a Focus Sash or a Life Orb, and the reasoning behind this is Focus Sash allows us to Shell Smash, and then we should be able to outspeed almost anything, and at least get off one kill. Life Orb is the other option there. If we're not too afraid of getting O-Code, we can run a Life Orb, risk the Shell Smash if we know they're not going to be able to O-Code us, like looking at their team in team prep, right? So those are the two items for that kind of build. The more defensive build, I guess not the more defensive, but the more setup build, you could run a Focus Sash just to make sure you get up some of those spikes, or you could even run like a Rocky Helmet because this thing has the defensive stat to support that. You could feasibly run like a Berry if you really needed to. You have options on this. You could even run a Choice Band, and just if you know that they've got a team that's extremely weak to Rock and Ice, run a Choice Band and choose whichever one's going to do the most. Cloyster gives you quite a good amount of options, and for its tier, it's worth picking up if you are willing to sacrifice a bulky water type for a water type that can do damage, and maybe going into a bulkier grass type like Tangrowth. This pairs really well with mons like that, like Tangrowth and a fire type that can do a lot of damage. That's really where your pairing comes. So I've been Vampire218, bringing you my draft Pokemon spotlight on Cloyster. If you like the video and you want to see more Pokemon Draft League content, please make sure to leave a like, share, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Bye!